Okay, we're asked to solve the inequality 3x plus 1 all over x minus 1 greater than or equal to 2. Okay, where x can't be minus 1, right? And that makes sense because if it's 1, 1 minus 1 is 0, so you can't divide that by 0, it's undefined. Okay, so how do you do this question? Right, there's a problem with inequalities. Okay, let's say we had this problem. Sorry, x minus 1 equals to 2. How would we solve this problem? We could get a common denominator, or we could multiply both sides by x minus 1, and then we could solve it. Okay? Unfortunately, you can't do this here because there's a problem with inequalities that if you multiply or divide across by a minus, you change the direction of the sign. So we don't know what the value of x is. We don't know what the value of this is. This could be a negative, and if we do this process to it, the sign may change or may not change. So we can't do this exactly. So what we do, we get around this by multiplying it by x minus 1 squared. By doing this, you're making sure that what you multiply across both sides is a positive, something positive, so the sign stays intact. And if you do that, x minus 1 will take out one of these. Okay, so this is my sum. We all have it in a straight line. So we have x minus 1 multiplied by 3x plus 1 is greater than or equal to 2 times x minus 1 squared. So we're going to multiply this out. Okay, so I'm going to do this quite quickly. I'm going to go to split the bracket because that's what you'll do yourself. X by 3x is 3x squared. X by 1 is 1x. Minus 1 by 3x is minus 3x. Minus 1 by 1 is minus 1. I'm going to do the same over here. If you square a bracket, the easy way to square a bracket, you square the first, multiply the first by the second, and multiply it by 2, so it's minus 2x, and square the last plus 1. Alternatively, multiply it out twice, okay, and do all that, okay, and this is what you get. Then you need to multiply out the bracket, so you get 2x squared minus 4x plus 2, and this side will be 3x squared minus 2x minus 1. So I'm going to just organize the quadratic. So I'm going to bring the 2x squared over here, so that will become x squared. The 4 minus 4x becomes plus 4x, so that becomes plus 2x. The plus 2 comes over with the minus 1 becomes minus 3. So now we have a quadratic greater than 0. Okay. Now, like in the previous question, the way to solve these is just change it to an equals initially, okay, and solve it equal to 0. Okay, so I'm doing everything here quick. So the factors of 3 are 3 and 1 to make plus 2, plus 3, and minus 1. So I let both of them equal to 0. So I find that x is equal to 1 and x is equal to minus 3. This point I need to draw it. Okay, so I know the two factors are 1 and minus 3. Okay, so I draw my quadratic. Now I look back to the inequality. So it says the quadratic is greater than 0. So they're saying that the y value is greater than 0. So it's up here, this direction. So this part of the quadratic is greater than 0. So you have to describe it in terms of x. So in terms of x, all the values x greater than 1 will take into this part of the graph. And if you look at the graph here, all the values less than minus 3 will take into that. If I had to just visually draw that, okay? So this is the part of the graph that's greater than 0. You can see it in terms of x, it's all of this, and it's all of this over here. It's less than minus 3. And just to explain something else more, if you put in any value greater than 1 into this, this will be true. If you put any value less than minus 3 into this, this will be true. And if you put any value between minus 1 and 3 into this, it wouldn't be true. So these are the values that would work for this inequality.